This would be episode 2 of our, we will be calling this video series the Figuring Out Your Favorite Monsters show. And I started off with Freddy Krueger. These won't be published necessarily in order. But anyway, we're going to go off to an old classic, back into the Universal Monsters, and talk a little bit about Frankenstein real quick. Because now there's one enigma that people have been trying to figure out about Frankenstein for a very long time. And that is what happened to Ygor after his brain was put into the monster in the Ghost of Frankenstein film. And then the sequel to Ghost of Frankenstein was Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. So the way to look at this is that you either have to consider it a reboot, and which you just ignore the previous one, which I don't want to do. We're not going to do that. It's not our style here. Or you have to figure out why Ygor isn't in the monster or isn't speaking. A couple ways to look at this. My way of looking at this, explaining it away, is I consider the flesh matter to be a little less important than the monster's actual soul. And this is sort of, it might be something that is hinted at in Mary Shelley's own work, and it might be even hinted at in some of the movies. I don't know if it was ever deliberately thought of that the soul of the monster is more unpredictable and overcoming than the flesh. But a lot of people like to just sort of go the flesh route and say that Frankenstein used the wrong brain and then the guy turned evil, or that and then in the Robert De Niro film you get Frankenstein using the correct brain, and then the monster is still turning evil because social society got into him and made him bad, but he still has memories of the old brain and the potential to be good. But back to the Universal Monsters, I consider it the soul of Frankenstein is a whole new soul altogether. I don't think it has anything to do with the flesh that was put into his cranium. And the way I sort of see it is, when Ygor was put in there, he lived for a little while and slowly died off, in my opinion. And that, to me, is the best. Either he slowly died off, or him and the monster are forever intertwined together somehow in the same piece of meat. And so that's the way I like to look at Frankenstein. And in life, they were, friends and companions. And to me, that would be a really interesting way of ending that saga, is that, they were so close that they became one and forever intertwined. And from that day forward, Ygor never escapes mentioning of the monster. So Ygor kind of got what he wanted, then he kind of got screwed. One continuity thing they do have, damn it, I don't want to say words like that, but we're going to use it anyway. In Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, the monster is supposed to be blind, which is why Bella is reaching his arms the way he is and has trouble moving around. He's supposed to be blind in accordance with Ygor getting the wrong blood and everything. But I think he starts seeing later on when he gets fully regenerated to full power, and I don't think the blinding should last, because the monster has the power to sustain bullets and all this other stuff. Surely a blood transfusion shouldn't hurt him too bad, unless maybe that's the secret. Maybe you put bad blood or bad energy into him, and maybe that's how you can destroy him. For some reason, there's hardly no way to kill Frankenstein. He's quite a durable son of a bitch. In fact, probably more powerful than even old Jason, because Jason at least takes the damage, and there's actually sort of a ghostly power behind Jason rather than just mere meat. But Frankenstein's meat is extremely durable for some reason, and it's often sort of said in the thing that he's just very, very, very powerful. I don't understand why he's particularly invulnerable, but he is. But that's the way I like to look at it. I like to look at it that it's still that same soul of the monster. So the monster hasn't changed to Ygor in the monster. But if Igor is in there, he'd just be a little bit in there, maybe just a little intertwined, in my opinion. So I think that's my way of looking at that situation. And again, you can disagree with me here. This ain't stuff that you guys all have to take seriously. This is my opinion, and we're gonna start talking about monsters and the way they ought to be talked about with interpretation and